Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LTH product briefing. I'm joined today by Nick Skills, the founder and CEO of TIQ Time. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you. Nice to be back.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you back. It's really fun to be able to check in again on TIQ Time after, I think, about 2 years since the last time we did one of these with you. This has been an epic 2 years for legal technology in timekeeping as well. I'm sure it's been madness for you, just as it has been for everybody else. Tell us a bit about what has changed in the product and how you've seen TIQ Time evolve in this period.
You're right. It's been crazy 2 years. For us, also fantastic 2 years. We've grown immensely, more than doubled our customer base. And in a sense, on a very high level from what we do, not much has changed. So we still have a very strong focus on helping lawyers fill out their timesheets. That's like the main focus of what we do. But of course, also with the developments in AI, the way we do that has changed a lot. And the nice thing is that we already had a very strong core. We've been solving this problem for already 8 years, a bit more even. Yeah, and by keeping that focus, we allow ourselves to go deeper and deeper within that problem and making sophisticated solution for it.
Excellent. So it is layering AI into the product in an additive way because you already had that strong foundation.
Yeah, exactly. So AI hasn't replaced everything that we do. At the core, we still have a part of the application that is still rule-based or template-based, but we've been able to layer that with AI to drive even better results. And especially because also our customer base, the average size of our firms has become larger and larger. And with that, the focus has also shifted a bit from just complete timesheets, so making sure you don't forget anything, to compliant timesheets. So making sure that all the narratives you create and the time entries you create, they comply with not only internal guidelines, but also outside counsel guidelines for your clients and other rules you might have around how you want to track your time.
Interesting. I really like that shift to compliant timekeeping. Nick, let's have a look. I'm keen to see the updated product.
So let me start first 2 minutes with a quick recap of what we do in general. So TIQ Time is a full timekeeping solution. So you can use it for automated timekeeping. So that means we capture the time that is spent on emails, documents, meetings, Zoom calls like this. You can also still use it for manual time entries or stopwatch if you want. And we now help with more consistency and compliancy, which I'll show you in a minute. But what you can see here is when you log into TIQ, on the left side, you see all the suggestions that TIQ has created. So here you see per matter and client, what has been captured. And if I click on one of those items, so for example, this send email, TIQ fills out all the details on the right here automatically. So you can see I spent 9 minutes on this email. It is mapped with the correct client and matter. It is mapped with the right task code, activity code, and then it creates a description in the language of the matter. So TIQ is also fully multilingual. We have offices that work in 4 or 5 languages, or they have offices across the globe, and it works in any language. I can still update anything I want here, or I can just click save. And then it's displayed here under my confirmed entries as a billable entry. And that is how I review the suggestions from left to right. And basically, I always work in the context of one day. So this is today. I can see that 7 hours, 10 minutes have already been captured. And I've already tracked 3 hours and 12 minutes. And if I want to see my totals for the week or the month, I click on the calendar, I have my view here, and I can see if I comply with any quotas I might have or targets for the day, week, and month. And the nice thing, so I already mentioned, and I think about 2 years ago, we just got started with this shift in focus towards compliance, is that you can set up a number of rules. So whether those are outside counsel guidelines or internal billing guidelines, and we make sure that the entry is compliant at the time you create it. So not when it's reviewed by finance or your assistant, not when it's billed to the client, but when you create it. So a very simple example is always travel. So let's say I create a manual entry on a matter and I say travel to New York. And here it actually blocks the time entry. So it doesn't come up with a suggestion to complete it or to rephrase it, because it's not allowed to do this on this matter. If I have a more complicated example, so let's say I have 12 minutes on this matter, it's correspondence, and let me just paste something here I had in my clipboard. But this is like an example of a very lazy narrative.
Right.
What now happens is that it will check it against like any billing guidelines or external guidelines we might have set up. And if there's an improvement, this magic wand will pop up. And if I click it, it will rewrite the narrative to comply with all the rules I've set up. So
Oh,
in this example, you see now it starts with a capital. It uses the word draft instead of email to. Instead of the full name, it uses the first initial and then the last name. It capitalizes words where it's needed. It doesn't, and it replaces any abbreviations, and it ends with a dot. So these are all very boring tasks, but all these corrections throughout the day, they really add up, whether it's the lawyer that does it or the assistant, or it's later done in the process. It saves a lot of time. Then again, I save it and it's saved here.
yeah, that's excellent. The workflow is so simple and intuitive to gradually move things over, but I love the fact that you can bake in those rules, both for house style, the way that the firm actually wants to bill things, but also for
Exactly.
quiet terms.
And I think what's really powerful about the way we've implemented it is that so in this example, we use Azure OpenAI, and the firm has a lot of freedom on how they implement this. So we connect to the instance that runs in the customer's Azure environment. So all the processing is done there, and it goes further than that because you can also fine tune that model in Azure. So that means with your own data, you can make the model better, and you are the only one that connects to that model. So you're not trading any public model or that is used by anyone else. So also let me show you like how we set it up. If I go to the settings here, I have the settings for my AI assistants here. And what I do here is I connect to the model that runs in my Azure tenant. And the beautiful thing is that I can also customize the prompt that is being used. So if I use any specific firm terminology or languages, I can also do it here. And like I said earlier, like I can train the model within Azure, but I can also provide examples here for a very quick result. And what is also really powerful is that we can do this per language. So we found that we've got really good results for multilingual firms if they have a specific prompt per language, instead of just always using an English prompt and then translating it at the end. It allows the firm to really get like the detailed results that's needed for accurate narrative writing on the invoice.
That's very cool. What about the compliance? How does that work on the back end?
So for the compliance, we have what we call rules, and then we have a rule overview, and you can create rules either based on a global level, so that applies to the whole firm, to all billable matters, on a group, so that might be a group of clients or a group of matters or a group from a specific region, or even on a client or matter level. And there you can define these rules, so you can add them. They can be very complex or they can be very simple. And those are then applied when the narrative is checked by TIQ Time when you save it.
Very clever. And I suppose, Nick, this all integrates with the major financial systems as well for law firms.
Yeah. So with TIQ Time, we kept the focus on time entry. So we don't do any pre-billing or billing, or we don't do any project intake. We always integrate with the practice management system or ERP system that is used as the backbone of the firm. And that also makes the projects very lightweight. So TIQ Time, especially if you are using one of the like more familiar practice management solutions, you can set up a TIQ Time instance within a few weeks. There's no big data migration. There's no big project. We set up the integrations with project management and document management system. And from there on, you can start using it.
And the reporting that you showed, I imagine as well, if I'm a partner and I want to see time across my practice, am I able to see that as well?
Yeah, so we have two reporting solutions. One is built in TIQ Time, so it's what we call TIQ Insights. And it's a very simple module where I can select periods. So let's say last 2 weeks of February, let's say matter and clients, and I want to see like the type of work I did per matter per client, or I want to see like what type of activities were captured by TIQ Time, whether it was billable and unbillable. And this is just built into TIQ, but it's always on an individual level. Now, if you want to report on a firm level or a management level, we have a set of BI templates, Microsoft Power BI, and the firm can customize those reports if needed. Because we found that on an individual level, the requirements for a report are almost 99% the same. But if you look at reporting requirements for a whole firm, then there's some overlap, and then there's a lot of customization that's wanted. So we chose, again, there also for a way that it ties in with technology that the firm is already using and allows the firm to customize where needed. One of the features that also contributes to consistency and compliancy is our previous entries feature. So if I select a matter, so let's say this one, I have this button here that says show me the previous entries. And then I see all the previous entries that I created on this matter. So for example, if I'm continuing with the same task as I worked on yesterday, I can simply copy the description, or I can copy the whole entry. But I can also do this across my team. So if I was in a meeting with multiple lawyers, and I want to make sure we all use the same description, one lawyer can create the entry and then tag others and make sure that I use the same terminology, I use the same duration for the meeting as everybody else. So again, it saves a lot of back and forth when creating time entries.
That's very cool. That would be so useful.
Yeah, it's a simple part of the solution, but it's also one of the most used part of the solution. So really cool.
Thank you so much for showing us TIQ Time's updates, Nick. I think they look fantastic, really user-friendly, really intuitive, such a modern way to do something that is otherwise painful. So thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for
Yeah.
joining us today.
Yeah, like I said, in the core, we're still doing the same. So I think we really pinpointed like how we can solve the pain point of filling out a timesheet, and yeah, just being able to, like I said at the beginning, discover the problem deeper and deeper and just add layers on top of it to make sure we keep growing as a product as well.
That's great. Thank you so much. For everyone watching, we will, of course, put a URL across the bottom of the screen so you can reach out to Nick and his team and find out more. Thanks again, Nick, for joining us. And to everyone watching, thanks so much. We'll see you next time.